the only white grizzly bear known in North America, and I happened to come across it.
Where?
In the Rockies.
Okay.
It is a bear that has been seen by others in the past. The big thing with it, though, is the story that goes behind it.
Okay.
And,
Hello, I'm John Brink, and we are podcasting on the Brink from downtown Prince George, northern British Columbia. Now, for those guests watching us from around the world, British Columbia, Canada, is an amazing province. It has beauty like no other place in the world. If you have a plan, which you should, coming to Canada, come to BC, come to northern BC. This is Prince George, the capital of northern British Columbia. Today, a special guest. His name is Seemann, and he is a professional photographer. Eric, welcome to the show.
thank you. Appreciate it.
So you came, and I find it amazing because from the time that I was a young kid, I always loved cameras, and I never could afford any really. And so I went to these shows in Holland. I was born in northeastern Holland in the province of Groningen, and I would pick up all these brochures, and I kept them and dreaming about someday I'm going to buy these cameras, or a camera or more cameras, and little did I know that I would have an iPhone that and a whole lot of other cameras. But so tell us a little bit about your background. I believe you born in British Columbia. Were you born in northern BC?
Yeah, I was born, actually I was born in Ontario, Red Lake,
Okay.
Ontario, and then moved as a young child to Kitimat,
Kitimat.
into the coast, yeah.
Okay.
So I grew up there, grew up on the river, and lots of hiking and lots of outdoors, and my dad was a very avid hunter, and so was my brother. So.
Okay, so you really got a feel of the... Now
Yeah.
again, for our international guest, looking at British Columbia, which is a big, big province, we are exactly, more or less, in the center of British Columbia, which is about 800 kilometers north of Vancouver. It would take us another 800 kilometers to the Alaska border, or the Yukon border in our case. Next to the Yukon is Alaska. And if we then would go to the west, we would go to Prince Rupert. Just south of Prince Rupert is Kitimat.
Right, and that's probably another 800 kilometers from here, if I'm not
which
mistaken.
is exactly another 800 kilometers, the same as it would be to the Alberta border going to the east.
That's right. Yeah.
The amazing part about it is that I was born in northern Holland, which is flatter than a pancake. Most of it is below the sea level, and and so wildlife was scarce.
I spent some time, a few days in Amsterdam
Yeah,
before going to Africa.
yeah, lots of wildlife there, but it's not quite the same wildlife that
Right,
we were referring to here in BC.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing city. Amsterdam or Rotterdam?
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amsterdam, very famous, big city.
Well, yeah.
you
Went to the windmills and stuff,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of swans and stuff around that area.
Yeah, it's also beautiful in its own way.
Right.
So you went to Kitimat, and then your dad was into the outdoors, your brother into the outdoors, so you grew up in an environment of appreciating the outdoors.
I sure did, yeah.
So how then did this develop that you're a wildlife photographer, but just not a wildlife photographer? My opinion, and many others, you are extremely special in it, that you have this amazing ability. And right behind us, for our guest, you can see the picture of the fox, and that is only one of them.
The wolf. Yeah.
Of the wolf.
Yeah.
And that was, where was that taken again?
I took this one in Yellowstone National Park.
Yellow is not so fine. So, how did you get to the hobby of photographing, other than you obviously have a great deal of respect for the wildlife and the beauty of it all, but then going the next step to become a professional photographer along with it, and learning not only that, and the other part about it is that I take pictures, but to develop an eye for seeing that picture, that beautiful picture, and to have the patience to wait for it to have all the things coming into place.
There's a lot involved.
Yeah, there is. Tell us about that. How did you get started?
Even just straight as from a kid, the family and everybody around me, they hunted, and I have absolutely nothing against the hunting.
Yeah,
it just wasn't for me.
No,
I was the little guy underneath the living room table watching the floor model TV.
Yeah,
watching Walt Disney on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
A Sunday night at 6 o'clock thing, and I loved watching the bears and all the animal shows that Walt Disney carried, and just wished that I could be a videographer or something one day.
Already from a very young age, right?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the thought of being out there in the bush with the bears or whatever.
In nature, right?
In nature, yeah, and I just really loved the idea of it, and I really didn't think, throughout the years, I didn't think I was ever going to be able to obtain that dream, but I did.
How did it happen, though? Because if I look back, and I'll tell you, it's not like yours, but if I look back, I had this dream about the whole thing around cameras. Just absolutely, totally amazed me, and I grew up. I was born in November the 1st, 1940, so I'm going to be 83 in the next week and a half or so. And so we didn't have much of anything, barely no food, no heat, and certainly not cameras. Other than, I remember my parents had this little box camera, and and that was about it.
No, that's pretty much the same with my dad too, and he got himself a film camera, and he used it all the time in Kitimat, and I just remember him with the film, just going at it all the time, and I was always interested in seeing his pictures and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was about early 90, I think, maybe 91. I was going to Brazil on a trip, and there's no way I was going to go to Brazil without a camera. So I did some learning about a year before that, 2 years before that. I started taking some courses, and went to Brazil with it because I wanted to find the toucan, and I wanted to find the wildlife in Brazil. The colorful bird. Oh yeah, with a very nice beak and stuff. And I wanted to find that. And
in the Amazon.
Yeah. In Brazil. Right around the capital actually of Manaus. So that's basically where it started, and just got hooked on it.
So you found a pecan? I
did not. No, I did not.
So you're going to have to go back to that at some point?
I'm going to have to, yeah. We were there on a cruise. And the wife and I were in our room after the tour of canoeing around, and we were with another couple. And we were all looking for that toucan, and a buddy of mine, he had his camera and I had mine, and I seen a toucan, and it was so far away.
Not possible.
It was just a tiny little thing. Yeah. I was trying to take pictures of it, and it wasn't happening. When I got back to the room, he sent me an email to my room saying, "Did you get a picture of that toucan?" And no, I didn't get a picture. It was way too far away. And he says, "Well, look at the one I got." And he sent me a picture of the one he got, and it was beautiful. It was
How did he get it?
The best shot I ever seen. He got it off the internet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not quite the same.
No. So he So he got me on that one, but that's kind of where I really started.
So that was in about 1990-ish.
Yeah, about 90, 91.
So, but then you want further beyond that, right? Then, so what was your profession up to that point then?
A mechanic, actually. Journeyman mechanic.
Mechanic working in equipment or in
Automotive mechanic.
Automotive
Yeah.
mechanic.
Yeah.
And so that was your career really, and then...
Yeah. Yeah.
And are you still doing that, or...?
No. My late wife and I, we sold the business
Yeah.
back in 2001.
Yeah.
She wanted to retire, and I was okay with that, and
Yeah.
sell the business, and needed to do something. So that was my opportunity to dive deeper into the photography.
Yeah, your hobby became your passion,
Yeah.
became your profession, and then obviously to become the best in that area, which you virtually are, in my opinion. I've never seen anything like it of the pictures that I've seen of yours. So, did you always have because what I think is so important about, being a photographer is to find that picture. I take a lot of pictures, but not like with the equipment that you have, but and then sometimes I look at it and say, that is beautiful. I can see it to a certain extent, but not like you would need if you were in your field. You have to have that. It is like what made Gretzky so good at what he did as a hockey player. Well, he always knew where the puck would be, and so that's why he was so good, is to anticipating where the puck would be, and I assume the same would happen in getting those absolutely amazing pictures, having the patience, and then anticipating that something will happen that says click.
Yeah. You do have to push myself. I have to push myself pretty hard. It's not like just going out this afternoon and I'm going to see a whole bunch of things.
No.
There's days that I just get skunked.
Yeah.
But I got to do my homework on where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I go to the same place a few times, and
Now,
I study a few different places, and I go to some new places like I did this past fall.
so if you say I decide where to go, but it sounds to me where you go includes all of North America virtually. Or at least
I've done lots of it.
Yeah.
I've done lots of it, but most of it is in British Columbia.
Yeah.
Although I just came back from Newfoundland, but most of it is in BC, and I've got my favorite spots in BC, and I found a few new ones this fall, and I got to get in, and I've got to study the area for a few days, and basically hang out for a few days to up to a week, and actually figure things out.
So what you're figuring out is where the activity is,
And where they like to hang out, and where
where
they frequent.
hang out and interact, and then finding, now you see it happening, but it's still not the whole picture. To get the whole thing together where it is, I always find it amazing, and you have such an amazing equipment sitting there, but that at some point, all of a sudden, it's starting to happen, bang, you got them.
Now I'm having fun.
Huh?
But now I'm having fun.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
It's starting to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's, but like I say, it takes a lot of effort. A lot of people say that I'm lucky, or yes, I am lucky. I am lucky, but there's a lot of work involved to get that luck, and to be able to be able to photograph something like that.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of work and a lot of effort.
So what I always say is that, and I'm okay in business, and a lot of people say, well, you're lucky. You say, no, that's not how it works. The harder you work,
exactly,
the luckier you get.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So
I totally agree. And I try to figure those things out in some of my shows, and I have that thing all the time about you're lucky, and so I'm trying to figure out what they're meaning by lucky. Yes, am I lucky to have this sort of life?
No.
It's all hard work.
It is.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that I'm able to get out there.
But it makes you unique among many and people that appreciate what you have in terms of the results of your artwork, art, A-R-T, you know, it is so absolutely, totally amazing, unique, that, you know, that your peers in the field of recognizing art of any sort will appreciate that others maybe don't, and that is their loss more than anybody else's. But
Right.
you know that success usually involves hard work.
It does. It certainly does. There's some, you know, there's a lot of personal things involved in it too, and the push, my push to be good at it, and to spend the time out there. And my late wife, she passed away 3 years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So before she passed away, we talked a lot about where I might end up.
Yeah. Tough.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do with myself without her? And
Yeah.
we talked about me pushing harder into the photography side of things, and you know, maybe having to trade off some of my vehicles that I do have for more efficient vehicles, to be out there, to get deeper into the woods, and to just soak myself into the photography, and really just get myself right in there deep. And that's what I promised that I was going to do, and that's what I did. And so my number one priority is photography, and going, you know, following my dream and her dream of me being a photographer.
Exactly. So what you did this fall, you went to a new location, and to kind of, you alluded to that and say, I found a new location, some new ideas, where was that you'd want to, and you hadn't gone there before? You mentioned earlier saying this fall you went to a different location. And
throughout BC.
Yeah.
Most of my places that I go to, I can keep completely confidential.
Yeah, no, okay, I'm not asking for that. But
so I'm not sure what you're asking then.
Oh yeah, okay. So that, I thought that maybe that you were saying, okay, I'm going to go, I haven't really gone to that particular corner because there may be, these, as they did in Brazil, is looking for maybe, like the caribou. I saw some amazing pictures of you that you showed me on your iPhone, for instance. There are unique spots where
I go to spots. I go to spots. I figure some things out, some spots out that I can be there by myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in places like national parks, like Jasper,
Too many
for
people.
instance, or Banff. There's simply just too much craziness.
Right.
People with cell phones trying to get too close, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of injuries this year, and there's lots of injuries in Yellowstone, and I just rather just stay away from that. So I do find these special locations where I'm going to kind of be on my own.
So if you go, do you have a trailer or a mobile place that you use as your...
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, I had to trade off. You know, after Rose passed away, I traded off my truck and a big trailer that we had, and
Right.
you know, I traded it off for a used pickup, and I put a camper on top of it, and
Works right?
yeah, just something for myself, something small.
Right.
And I pull a trailer behind it with my camping gear in it, and
Right.
my boat on top, and
that's all you need?
that's all I need. And then I have a Jeep for other parts that I can get a little bit deeper where the truck and camper won't go, and I got a rooftop tent on that. And,
Yeah.
and
So nothing stops you really?
Nothing stopping me.
No.
Nothing stopping me from saying what I told Rose, and that was I was gonna push hard in this, and follow my dream.
Yeah. So you had some other pictures with you as well, of the ones that you didn't unpack yet. If we take one of them down, I'd like to see another one. You know, so maybe Scott can take it down, and while we're talking, you can show another one that you may find is. You want a knife there, Eric? Or
I think I'm good.
Yeah, you could. Now, the other thing about these pictures, which I find so amazing, is that the way you make them, and I like it when the camera looks on the top of this. Put it down a little bit here, Scott, so that how they are all packed and put together. So that this is all part of.
Very, very good for shipping.
Yeah, and so these are amazing, but how you put them together.
Yeah.
And so this one also amazing, and maybe show them to the camera here as well. That So and then.
And this one here is one of the newer areas that I found.
Okay.
This fall, and I spent actually several days in there by myself. And,
right.
And this is a sibling. They're siblings, and they're right around 3 years old. They've just been weaned off of mom and out on their own. And
how long did you have to wait for this picture?
Oh, I've taken probably a couple of thousand pictures by the time I was able to capture this one of them.
That's what makes this so unique, right?
Yeah, they were all different places, but one foggy morning I was waiting. I was just kind of waiting to see where they were, and they showed up.
Did you want to put it in the front here? Oh, can I put it down there? Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
So, amazing. And so those are for sale, right?
Yes, they are, yeah.
So in our guests looking from all over the world, the way they are being put together, that's the place to put it, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, I see that. That's amazing, really. Yeah, get them in the camera, in the picture. So, what would something like that be selling for?
These ones here I sell. They're 30 by 20,
right?
And I sell them for.
You can take the pillow from behind it if you want to. It kind of throws it out. In the same as the other one. Yeah. Or take the pillows all together from behind them so they don't see.
So I sell them for $425.
Yeah, which is,
it's peanuts actually.
Yeah, if you look at the back, and you can pretty much send them all over the world, right?
I can. Yeah. I've got. There's some that have went to Switzerland, and some that went to Australia,
and do you also have a website, Aaron?
I do.
Yeah. What is your website?
That's info@wildlifer.ca.
So
basically, I think it's on here.
Oh, okay.
Info at wildlifer.ca.
Oh yeah, wildlifer.ca. Yeah. So and that will show all the different.
I got a lot of pictures on there, as well as my blankets and pillows and
all of those. Right?
Yeah,
a lot of products. All over the world.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I noticed you had is, which is unique, and I'm sure I'm going to buy this one for my wife, is we are into horses. And these are again, where did you take these pictures?
Some of them are taken in Arizona, the Salt River in Mesa, Arizona.
Okay, so this one is the 2020.
This particular one is in Mesa, Arizona. And he's running the
Is he
the Salt
a wild
River.
one? Is he a wild horse?
They're all wild horses in there, yeah.
And then, so this one here.
That one was in Alberta.
In Alberta,
Yeah.
And then here again,
Also Alberta.
Also Alberta. Also wild horses?
Yes, they're all wild, yeah.
All wild,
Yeah.
Are there a lot of wild horses here in Alberta still?
Ferals and wilds, and there's quite a few in BC, and there's lots in Alberta, and throughout Nevada and Arizona.
Yeah.
So like this one here, for instance, would be the Kamloops area.
Well, this one would be $35.
Yeah, $34.95.
$34.90. So I'm going to buy this one, you know, for my wife. She loves horses. And then the other ones that you have here, are they just to show our guests, because
just
they are
take,
getting ready for getting...
Especially for the people in Europe and stuff, this is a really good one here, if you want to just show that one. That one's a real mix of stuff that we find around here. Like that's a Prince George one, it's a lynx.
A lynx right
A
here
Canada
in Prince
lynx,
George.
yeah.
And this is...
And that's the same wolf as this
That is
one
the
here.
wolf, the one from there.
Yeah, just a different picture.
Yeah.
And then we got the moose with
Also in the,
what looks like, which I think is which is his son. Looking up at those antlers, thinking that one day that he's going to be big and mighty as well.
Yeah. And then this one, Eric?
And that one would be a pine marten.
A pine marten.
Yeah, that I got up in the Rockies.
Yeah. Are they? Where would they be?
All over. Yeah,
all over.
There's lots. Yeah.
Do we see them or not much?
Yeah, yeah. You can.
This one?
Not often, but that is my favorite fox. I call him Whiskers. And
so where would he be? In the
I got that one. I got that one way up in the Rockies, up at right around 7,600 feet.
So smart.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I really didn't think that. Like when I seen him, I thought he ran off, and I thought that was it. I wasn't going to see him again. But he actually came running out of the bush and ran circles around me, and started jumping around like he was my pet. And
yeah,
there was nobody around, so he wasn't ever fed by anybody. So
no, it was
he's
totally
just,
natural.
I'm not sure that he even knew what I was, but he wanted to play, and he was showing off that he was a hunter and sleeping, pretending he was sleeping. He'd wake up and play around some more. And
amazing.
I spent probably an hour or two with him, and that's the special thing about wildlife photography too.
Yeah.
Is the special things that you get to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the stuff that I see is just absolutely incredible. That's a really big 9x8 elk, pretty
and
amazing
if you
size.
say 9x8, you're referring to his
his points. Yeah,
his points. Huh?
Yeah, you don't see very many 9x8s out there.
And so this one would have been northern BC.
That one, yeah, it was in the Rockies actually.
In the Rockies,
yeah.
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 And this one is a.
That one is a sea wolf.
Sea wolf. What is a sea wolf?
That one is living right on the ocean.
Right on the ocean.
It's not inland like ours, like the inland timbers and stuff. They're living on seafood mostly.
And this one?
That one's a pine marten.
And this one?
Yeah, that's just cow calf. I mean cow and bull. During the rut.
Right.
During the rut in the fall. That's actually the male sea wolf, and I was out in a boat out in the ocean, and my guide kind of wanted to leave the area, but I asked him not to because we had followed this one and the female for about 3 days.
Yeah.
For hundreds kilometers and kilometers and kilometers. Each day we'd see them maybe go 20 kilometers or something. The male was up in the bush, and he wouldn't come out because the male's always sending the female out into the open and stuff. And all I saw was shadow. So once I found an opening where there's waterfall, I pictured it in my mind of him walking across that waterfall, especially for the composition and stuff. And I waited and waited and waited, and he walked across that waterfall out in the open, and that's the first shot. I was only able to get about 3 pictures of him.
This one?
That's caribou. We have in northern BC around here. They've got a really good program to get the numbers back up, and is also just in Newfoundland doing caribou as well.
You see, what I like about these calendars that you did for people from around the world is that because all the professional, the patience, the equipment, and waiting for that perfect picture it's a collection of all of these. These are just not pictures. You have no idea where they came from. That will remind them, and as the people that are watching our podcast, which a lot of times could well be 50,000 people from around the world, that, and then seeing these pictures about how unique British Columbia is, but also some of the other areas, makes us very, very special. Yeah. Because that in particular, if we look around ourselves here in northern British Columbia, around all the forest, so, and then seeing all the things that are going on around the world, how lucky we are, right?
Oh, we're very fortunate.
It is paradise.
We're very fortunate, yeah.
You look at the Ukraine, you look at the things in Israel, and the unbelievable things that are going on. So the other part is, I've been looking at your camera, this one in particular. It's an amazing lens. It's on a Nikon. The only way that you can, in my opinion, that you can do the quality that you have, you're the professional, but you must have also the right equipment.
Yeah, I have 3 of this particular camera, and I have another camera, a D850. So I got 3 of the 500s. I've got a D850, and I'm also into the Z series now, the Z7 and the Z8, which is mirrorless.
Is mirrorless?
Mirrorless, yeah.
Is that new technology?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, and very, very, very nice pictures.
And still can use the lenses like
from the older ones.
So
with adapters.
If I look at this lens here, that must be just about the top, right? Because you gave it to me, and it's heavy.
Yeah, but you weightlift, so you're okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I do.
It's probably I think we're looking at about 15 pounds right there.
Right. And the lens alone?
The lens alone I think is about 11 and a half to 12 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's on a tripod all the time over my shoulder with the other gear, and
yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of weight to carry around, and sometimes I'm walking 10 to 15 to 20 kilometers.
Yeah, and waiting or looking for something to happen.
Yeah. And
then get ready. Yeah, so that is the amazing part of it. I look at the pictures, they are amazing, and again, for our guest watching, look at the website that you have.
It's info at wildlifer.ca.
Wildlifer.ca, and see all those pictures, and then realizing how much effort has gone into it. So you have that now, and then you have, so you keep upgrading because you said you want to a Z, that is a further technology. So you keep investing in new technology to a certain extent.
Just like any electronics, right? It's every year or two you're getting bigger and better or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this lens, for instance, it's old style now.
Is it Nikon as well?
Yeah, it's a 600 millimeter, and the new 600 millimeters for the Z series are
half the size.
Probably about half the length.
Yeah,
and a lot lighter.
Yeah,
a lot lighter. So, but I'll be okay with this for a little while.
On the other hand, though, so I know a little bit about it, in terms of the camera. So what happened to me, I used to buy, I'd get all the brochures, and I was dreaming about it when I was a kid, 10, 12 years old. I would go every year to the camera shows, and I pick up all the brochures, and then that kept me going for the whole year, looking and dreaming of it.
Right.
So when I got older, I came to Canada, and I had one movie camera that I got. It was a real old one, and then what happened is I came off the bus here. I came to Canada, and we were liberated by the Canadians, April the 12th, 1945, and I always knew from that point forward, it made such an impression that I would go to Canada, the land of my heroes. It was not if, but when I wanted to go when I was 17. My parents wouldn't let me then. I was drafted into the Air Force and then did some other things. And then when I was 24, I went to Canada and I was not very successful in academically. I failed grade 3, failed grade 7 3 times. So I thought kind of I was a failure. So I wanted to start over new again.
Right.
Start out with nothing. Come here and then I wanted to build a sawmill. So when I came, I left Holland with $150, 1 suitcase, 2 sets of clothes, 3 books, and then this movie camera, the old movie camera that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when I came off the bus here, I had $25.47. My employees made that, but what I did have, I'll show to our guests here from around the world, what I did have is still to today, attitude. To me, always the glass is half full. I always stay positive. I had passion. All the things that I do, I give it all that I got. And work ethic. I work harder than anybody else. And, so that's what I did. And, and then the dream was to build a mill. I did that. And then the other part that I did, and I don't know if I'm amazingly also an author. And have you seen my books, or do you have?
No, I've been seeing your podcasts and stuff, and hearing a little bit about it. And
I'm going to give you a copy of these books.
Okay, great.
So I wrote this. Everybody said to me, "Why don't you write a book about it?" So for about 20 years. Then I stopped again. So about 5 years ago, I said, if I don't do it now, it will never happen. So I did an autobiography against all odds. And it's not about hurrah, hurrah, John. It's more like all the ups and downs and all the good, bad, and the ugly that went alongside with it.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm gonna write this, give this to you, to Eric. All the best, and sign it, John Brink. So then, in the meantime, we'll keep talking about. Should I put it? Where should I put it at? And then, then at the same time, so we have that, and then, the other thing that we should quickly talk about, since we have talking about is, you showed me this.
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
It's actually a grizzly bear. It's actually the only white grizzly bear that I know of, and I've heard of.
Did you take the picture?
The only white grizzly bear known in North America, and I happened to come across it.
Where?
In the Rockies. It is a bear that has been seen by others in the past. The big thing with it, though, is the story that goes behind it.
Okay.
And when my wife was sick, it was during the time when I told her that I was going to push harder into my photography and dive deeper and deeper and deeper into it, and like you say, with the passion and everything else, is you have to work hard at it. And I told her that's what I was going to do, and I told her we talked about the spirit animals, and I mentioned to her and talked to her about how when some people pass away, people come to them in spirit form as maybe a hummingbird or a yellow butterfly lands on them or whatever. Right. I told her that I really didn't want her to come to me as one of those. I really wanted her to come to me as a white bear one day.
Can you believe that?
So about 2 weeks after laying her to rest, I was up in the Rockies, one of my favorite places, and I was up at the camp by myself, and a buddy of mine knew where I was, and he said he was going to come up for a visit. So he came up for a visit, and that's all I have in mind is the white bear thing with her. And well, he comes up and he has all these gifts for me, and walking sticks and little carvings that he does. He does a really nice job of it, and he's big-hearted, and he always wants to give me gifts. Sure. He comes to the fire and he's got all these gifts, and I said, I can't accept them right now. I've only got this truck now and the camper, and I didn't have my trailer at the time, and it was really fresh, and I didn't know what I was doing with my life, where it was going to go, obviously, and if I was, where I was going to live, how things were going to change.
Well, you really. difficult.
I'll collect the gifts next year.
Yeah.
And he says, okay. So he says, but, and he goes and puts his stuff away, and he says, but when I was coming out of my apartment, something was telling me inside that I needed to find something for you. There's something in here for Eric that I need to find. He went back into his apartment, and he's going through his drawers, and there's something in this drawer that I need to get to Eric. And he opens his hand up, and he gives me this white bear.
Oh my God. And so that's when he came to you.
That's when he gave me the white bear, and I really honestly couldn't even believe it.
No.
There's my white bear.
Yeah.
So then I told him about it the next day. I didn't want to tell him about it right at the moment, and he loved Rose very much too. Rose
Sure.
always spoiled him with cookies and all that kind of stuff. And
Sure.
so when I told him about it the next day, he broke down as well, because he was a big part of Rose, and
Sure.
being part of a story like this, these are the things you need to believe.
Yeah.
You need to believe when you're in that grieving process and
Sure.
stuff. Without that, you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So about 2 years later, I'm up in the Rockies, and this white grizzly bear I came across this white grizzly bear. One of the only white grizzly bears, as far as I know, the only other time a white grizzly bear was seen was about 35 years ago. So it's not a white
There you
black
were all
bear.
by yourself.
Yeah, it's not
with
a white
your
black
camera.
bear. Yeah.
And you say, I cannot believe it.
Yeah. And
Because you knew how unique it was. Right?
Yeah, and it's a grizzly bear, not a white spirit bear, black bear, or Kermode bear.
Yeah.
It's actually a grizzly, and one of the very first times ever taken Rose out for photography was for grizzly bear, and it's the very first time that she actually ever seen a grizzly bear was with me. And we saw a couple that day. So for it to be a grizzly bear that I came across, and a white grizzly bear, it really touches the heart for me.
Oh, and white bears have been seen on the coast with those black bears.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
Kermode bears, or whatever they call them.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's not a grizzly bear.
It's not a grizzly.
No,
so it's
that
pretty
is so
special.
unique. Yeah.
So it's a really good story for me, and
Sends a message.
I saw her, and it is actually a female. And I had to walk up the hill. I had to walk up the hill after I had taken some pictures of her coming towards me like that. And then she walked past me, and I walked back down the hill, and she was walking away, and she stopped and turned back and looked at me as if to say goodbye, and never seen her again after that.
Unbelievable. So, do you sell these?
I sell those, yeah. I'm not sure. I don't think I have them all on the website. On the website, I mostly just got my pictures and some tote bags and stuff. These tumblers and stuff I have at all the local shows. And
okay, I want to buy this one.
Those I sell at $24.95, and they're double insulated and
Can
all
you
that kind of
sign
stuff.
it? Or
I sure will.
Yeah, with this pen, or
I sure will.
do you
Yeah.
need special? Yeah, I want to buy this for you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's pretty special.
Unbelievable. And again, for our guest, this doesn't happen. I've never heard of it. White grizzly, and then
not when it two. It happens twice.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
You know.
So amazing.
Yeah, it's
Amazing,
pretty special.
Eric. And so, okay, the amazing story is very, very touches you, right? So
It does. It keeps me out there.
It
keeps me going, and I've told some other people, without this and without the camera and without the photography,
what would I do?
Where would I be?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I'd be.
Yeah, exactly.
Without the conversations that I had with her before she passed. And, and having this come to me.
Well, and you've shown it to the world, and what you're doing is amazing. Can I see the other one too, since you brought it with you, the other picture for our guests? And in the meantime, what I'm going to do is, so I can talk while you're doing this Eric, is the
I may just get you to
so the going a little bit off topic while you're doing that. So the other thing that I discovered is that I walked into a store here when I was already here for 32 years, and I thought I had failed, and you know, so and I found a book, and I opened the book.
Actually, I wanted to see that book.
Yeah, and the book that I bought was Driven to Distraction.
Yep.
And it said ADHD, and I said, "Oh my God, that's me."
Yep.
And I that kind of changed my life. Now I knew what it was, and so I signed this copy for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well.
I do want to actually see that. I do have a couple of special friends that also have ADHD. So.
Oh, how many have you got, friends? I'll give you more copies. Sign them too.
I would love to get at least one more.
So, oh my God. Mm-hmm. So is that the 7 points?
This is the 9/8.
Yeah, so the 9/8.
Yep.
So how much does that sell for?
The $425.
For 25?
Yeah, and it also has
Same again.
the metal hanger on the back.
So what I want to buy this one, and then I would like to buy that one as well. You know, so that
Sure.
yeah. And but again, show it to our. This is such an amazing picture for all those people from around the world. Where did you take that, Eric?
This one's up in the Rockies.
In the Rockies.
Yeah, a
in
special
BC?
spot, a special place that I go to up there.
In BC.
It's actually in Alberta.
In Alberta.
Yeah.
So, but that's all part of the area to, you know, that, like if you look at this, it is so immensely real. So, yeah. How long did you have to wait for that to get it into? Because you took more than one.
I'm usually in this area for at least a week.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of it is really high too. It's high, it's cold,
Yeah,
and it's windy.
yeah.
And it's,
So, Scott, we're going to keep this one and the other one. And
you want the bears or the wolves?
no, I want all three of them.
That was easy. That was easy.
So the other thing that we talked about is I'm a little bit all over the map here, you know. So, but the other thing that I talked about is that, you know, and I can see that in you, you know, like so many people, you know, like, and especially younger people as well. But they you know, say, well, what you gonna do? I don't know, you know, they don't know what I want to do. Okay, and then I see other people that are doing things and they don't like their job, and if you don't like what you're doing, it affects everything around you, and I say change, you know. So what I did is I wrote the book, the one that I gave you, ADHD, and can you give me 2 more ADHD ones, and Against All Odds. So what I did, this one came out in July. And I said, finding your passion,
Yep.
living the dream.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so I'm going to give you this one too.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah.
You know, and so, and although you know, amazingly with my grade 7 and being born in Holland, speaking dialect really, before I learned to speak High Dutch, and then I barely could speak High Dutch, I came to Canada to learn to speak English. Because I couldn't speak English when I came here, didn't know a soul, didn't have a job.
Right.
But it is all in this, having your passion, you know, the attitude, passion, work ethic, and even now.
It all goes hand in hand for sure.
And so what I usually do is I get up at 5:30 in the mornings usually, and I always make my bed. My wife is on the island. And on the weekends, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I catch the flight to North Saanich, and I spend the weekend there. Then at 11 o'clock Monday morning, I fly back to Prince George and work all week. And then, you know, so, but I usually get up at 5:30, always make my bed. I always think I'm late. And then, you know, I still work probably 12, 13 hours a day. And, you know, and even at 83, you know, so I like what I'm doing, and
Yep.
I enjoy
Yep.
it. You
Good
know?
for you.
So I'm going to
Yep.
give you the other two.
Yeah, she's a friend that
ADHD.
yeah has.
It happens to me all the time, you know, that that is virtually not a day that goes by that I don't meet people that saying I never told anybody that,
Yep.
but
Yep.
I'm going to sign the other one for you to give to whoever.
Yeah.
All the best, and then I'm going to sign it here, and so with the Against All Odds. It took me 80 years to live it, 20 years to think about it, 2 years to write it. It's not easy to write books,
No,
but it
I
had to
could
be
imagine.
good. But I'm a storyteller, that's what I do. And then I do presentations all around, you know, and then I'm writing another book right now that is Living Young, Dying Old.
Right.
And it's about living healthy in terms of staying fit, diet. There's so many different thoughts and ideas about it. And then staying healthy mentally, physically, you know, and it's not about how old you are, but to remain, have quality of life.
Right.
You know, that's what it is all about. And then health is precious. And to preserve, you know, it's a gift that we have, and we should be taking care of it if we can. And you know, so that book is coming out next July, and so that's kind of what I do. And you know, and then obviously the other part that I do now is podcasting.
Yep.
I love it. This one is.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here for sure.
Well, I appreciate you being here because it's so unique, and the artwork that's so unique, and I'm so proud of it. You know, that they are now, these ones are part of my environment, and you know, I'm going to take one to Vancouver Island, and you know, so but yeah, it's unique and
Yep.
very special.
Yeah, I think this one will probably be a nice one for the island.
Yeah.
No, actually this one, the bear one,
Yeah.
with the fog and the
Yeah.
trees and stuff. It
Yeah.
kind of that environment.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. You know, I'll take them with me. And so, any other things that come to mind? And I feel that we haven't covered everything about your. Oh, let me tell you just a little bit about. Otherwise, I forget that part. Is that so? Then finally, I started buying cameras. So I bought Leicas. So I've probably 20 different Leicas. You know, that I bought, and lenses and all the other things. And obviously then everything for the amateur like me, everything changed, and we do everything with our iPhone.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
exactly,
so
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of iPhone photographers out there, that's for sure. Does some pretty nice work
yeah,
for Instagram and stuff like that. I found though that the iPhone and the phones have caused a lot of trouble, like in national parks and stuff like that. People getting too close.
too close, eh? Yeah, yeah, and that's extremely unfortunate, right?
Yeah,
And more so all the way, not appreciating, it's more being naive than anything else likely, not respecting it's their world. And
that's right. Yeah.
yeah,
You know, they want to get that selfie. They got to get closer to be able to get that quality picture for their phone or for Instagram or whatever. And it's
right.
putting them in danger. It's putting the animal in danger. It's putting everything.
Yeah,
Harming everything.
yeah,
And then you have the wardens coming out with more rules, and they're strict. They're stricter now than they've ever been. And
yeah,
people get upset with the wardens. Well, you can't be upset with the wardens when we're
exactly.
us as humans are doing what we're doing out there.
Exactly.
So need the big equipment.
Yeah.
Need the big
Well,
lens.
and that's but you know, to have the talent yet you have that the equipment is very, very important, but to to have the eye for it and the commitment it is a big part of your life that you discussed with Rose before she passed away, and you know, it's your life now, and the results are amazing. You know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Eric, it was a pleasure.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate being here.